Hello again. A few weeks ago, we were treated to the sight of a biological male wearing a bra and promoting it on behalf of the makers, in that case, Nike. Adidas then swiftly followed suit by getting a man to pose in their women's swimming costumes, a black man as well, thus ticking several boxes at once. Not to be outdone, Calvin Klein are now advertising their bras by getting a black guy who used to be a woman and has both a beard and breasts, to say nothing of a very hairy chest, to model them. There are, of course, two possible explanations for this trend. The first might be that advertising and modelling agencies are now trans blind, as you might put it. That is to say that they are equal opportunity employers and simply don't notice that the person modelling their women's swimming costumes have penises and hairy chests. This might be very laudable if it's the correct explanation for what we are observing, but I have my doubts. The other most likely explanation is that these companies know that there is a big ideological struggle taking place in Britain and the United States, a so-called culture war between those who are gender critical and those who support trans rights. This makes trans people very fashionable, and since it seems that all progressive and right-thinking people are on the side of the debate which is not gender critical, then it's a sharp move to brandish a few transsexuals around in your advertisements. This is both very topical and modern, which is what you want in advertising, and also indicate at once that you and your product are on the right side. It also generates controversy and debate, which means even more publicity, which is good. I have a problem with this. Using people as props in this way is a little tacky. Some people do suffer agonies because they genuinely feel they're in the wrong body, and I have every sympathy for them. Putting photographs of them in newspapers just because you know that some people will be disgusted and complain, though, is awful. It is using humans as though they were inanimate objects, which is never pleasant to see. It puts me very strongly in mind of old-time freak shows, when people with physical deformities were exhibited to a paying audience. The parallel is pretty exact. Here are people who are obviously out of the ordinary and whose physical appearance does not match what you expect to see in a man or a woman. A biological woman with a beard, say. The bearded lady was an old standby of carnival sideshows, and lo and behold, now Calvin Klein are exhibiting their own bearded lady. Perhaps somebody could tell me the difference between these two things. These days we do not really approve of freak shows, although many of the human oddities who travelled with the circuses were glad of having a way of earning money. In just the same way, the woman with the beard in the advertisement, which may be seen in the thumbnail to this video, is probably glad to find work of this kind and be paid simply for being who she is. This does not mean, though, that we should encourage this sort of thing, and personally I don't think that we should do so.